Imagine lying in your bed, eyes closed, but your mind keeps racing. You know sleep is coming, but you can't seem to shake off the thoughts that overlap with each other. Are you truly in reality right now, or is this moment you are experiencing just a construct in your mind? How do you know that what you feel is real? Can the memory itself be a part of a delusion created by your mind? The mind, this mysterious thing we all experience, does it exist outside of us, or is it separate from the physical world? If the mind is the creator of reality, how can we trust our perception of this world? Are the people we meet real, or do we merely imagine them? Perhaps even the world around us isn't what we think it is. Could everything be a dreamlike illusion we are all collectively weaving, and each person is trapped inside their own unique vision of the universe? This thought makes you wonder about every single experience you've ever had. What if it's all just a continuous stream of disconnected images that your mind keeps creating over and over? How do you even know that the thoughts you're having right now are your own? Could they be programmed? What happens when those thoughts stop? What happens when you stop thinking? Does your existence disappear, or does it continue regardless of your awareness of it? And if everything is created in your mind, how much of it can you control? Can you step outside of your own perception and see the world as it truly is? As you try to rest, another thought bubbles up. The concept of existence itself. Can you truly say you were not here at some point in time? If you could travel back in time before you were born, what would you encounter? Silence, empty space, or would time itself stretch into eternity with no moments to mark your absence? What if the universe just keeps going forever, and our lives are mere fleeting moments in an endless continuum? Maybe nothing really ends, and the end is just another way our minds organize the unthinkable. What if you weren't born? Or what if you were never even conceived? Could you ever know the answer to that? Can you even know what it feels like to not exist? Then you turn to the next question. Is time even real? Is time just the way we experience change? What if everything is happening all at once, in an eternal now? What if the past and future are merely human constructs, ways of organizing our experiences to make sense of them? Could time actually be an illusion? If it is, then we're trapped in a loop, constantly moving through an illusion that doesn't really exist. Imagine the possibility that time is not linear, and our perception of it is a distorted view created by our minds. Maybe everything that happens, from birth to death, happens at once, and what we experience is only a slice of a much larger whole. How can we be sure that we're not living through the same moment over and over again, just experiencing it in different ways? As the thoughts continue to swirl, the idea of the universe becomes even more complicated. What if there are infinite versions of reality? Not only does each person experience their own reality, but what if these realities coexist side by side, and we just don't have access to the others? Could there be countless versions of you, living in different circumstances, making different choices? If this is the case, what does it mean for the real you? Is there a version of you that is truly you, or are you just one possibility in an infinite web of alternate realities? How would you ever know which version of you is the one that matters, if any at all? These thoughts are unsettling because they challenge your sense of identity. You've always considered yourself to be one fixed person. But what if you're not? What if every time you make a decision, you're creating a new version of yourself in another reality? Which version of you is the most authentic? How can you even define yourself when you don't know which reality you are in? And then there's the ever-present question. What is knowledge? We live our lives assuming that what we know is true, but can we truly know anything? When you hear someone say something is a fact, what does that even mean? Facts change over time. Science itself is built upon new discoveries, and what we consider to be fact today might be debunked tomorrow. If knowledge is always evolving, then how can we be certain of anything? Do we trust knowledge because it's convenient, or because it's real? What happens when we let go of our certainty? When we stop believing in absolute truth and begin to embrace doubt, what are we left with? Is it possible to live without belief in anything, or would that leave us paralyzed? Can we truly live in a world where nothing is definite? The more you think about it, the more you realize how deeply unsettling it is to not be sure of anything. It's as if your mind starts to unravel, and everything you thought you knew starts slipping away, piece by piece. Now, turning your attention back to existence itself, you begin to wonder about the very nature of your own being. You exist. You are aware of your own existence. But what does that mean? In a universe of infinite space, what is it that makes you You, if everything around you is made of the same basic materials, atoms, molecules, energy, what separates you from everything else? How can consciousness arise from a collection of cells and chemicals? How do you even experience thoughts or emotions? Are you just the sum of your parts? Or is there something more to you that can't be explained? The idea of consciousness, of being aware that you exist, feels more and more like a mystery that cannot be solved. As these questions continued to swirl in your mind, you think about life after death. What happens when the body ceases to function? Is there really a self that continues after death? Or is death the end of everything? If the mind is the product of the brain, and the brain stops working, then does the mind simply cease to exist? But how can something that feels so real to you simply stop? How do we reconcile the idea that something that seems so permanent, our thoughts, our experiences, can be gone in an instant? If the self ends with the death of the body, does that mean the you that you know is just a temporary phenomenon? Or does something of you live on in some way? Maybe our consciousness is just a brief flicker in the vast expanse of time, but we can't fully understand it because we're trapped in the middle of it, experiencing it as if we are the center of the universe. The very idea of center itself is curious. Does the universe have a center? Or is that just a human concept? Could everything we know, everything we experience, simply be the product of our minds trying to make sense of a chaotic, indifferent cosmos? And then there's the mystery of nothingness. What does it really mean to experience nothing? When you close your eyes and there's no light, no sound, no sensation, it can feel like there's something missing. But what is that emptiness? It's like a void, but can a void even be experienced? If we remove everything, including our thoughts and feelings, what remains? Is there a place where we could find absolute stillness, where time stops, where existence fades away completely? Your mind spins around these questions, and no matter how many times you go over them, they remain unanswered. What if the purpose of life is not to find all the answers, but to live with the questions? To exist in the tension between certainty and doubt, between knowing and not knowing. Perhaps the most important thing is not the answers, but the act of questioning itself. The fact that you can sit there, awake in your bed, contemplating these profound mysteries, may be the only certainty you can hold on to in this strange, puzzling existence.